like I have listed some of the basic features only, not all the features. So those all features will be as and when we continue with the session. So those all will be getting covered one by one. So this is an intro kind of session. So for that, some of the basic functionalities and features only I have listed down. The rest all we will be discussing as individual modules only. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Some issues. And yeah, so we'll start with the PDF creation. Yeah, so as we were discussing yesterday, right? Using the Blazon module, we'll be able to create PDFs like on demand, which means like based on the requirements as and when if we want to convert the documents as a PDF, we can use the Blazon module to convert them. So as I was saying, this is a licensed module. If they require it really, if an organization or anyone who's using this content server, if they want this module really, whether based on their project requirements, sometimes they might need to convert lot of incoming documents to PDFs. So what they will do in those cases, they might really need this module. So in that cases, only they purchase this Blazon module. Else, it's not necessary for every organization or every team that uses content server to purchase Blazon. So it's an optional module only. Else, apart if Blazon is not there, intelligent like online editor, intelligent online editor, or office editor will be helpful to open the documents in the from the browser itself. So why means in certain cases, certain organizations, right, they might have a requirement they might have integrated with an application that will save a form, like because somewhere any forms like let's say you were saying it's a pharmaceutical project, right? So even I worked for one of the life sciences domain where they fill multiple forms. It's like a survey for a new what to say medicine that is launching into the market. It is like a survey from all of the end users who are going to use that medicine. So in India we don't have that survey, whereas in Europe and US regions, right, every individual or every person in the country has the right to fill in the survey for the medicine that they are using that is newly into the market. Okay, in that way, if let's say 1 lakh you employ like you people are come filling the survey, it comes and saves as a form. And what happens by the end of that year or particular month, they need to submit those forms to the drug agency, like US drug agency, which means it to the government. In that case, they can't submit them as forms only. They need to convert to PDFs. So in this way, the requirement to every organization can be different. So like they might have their own reason to convert the documents to PDFs. So like why I gave that example because we might have a question why to convert why anyone would need to convert that many documents to PDFs, but there will be a reason or a requirement based on the organization that uses the product. So that's the reason. So in those kind of scenarios, they might have to convert lakhs and lakhs of like millions of documents to PDFs. So in that case, it is really necessary to for them to purchase the Blazon module. So if the load of data to be converted to PDF is lesser, means they can use their existing server itself to install the Blazon module. Else, if the load is going to be huge, means they would purchase a new server itself, and in that server they would specifically install only Blazon for the conversions and all. Okay, so in that cases, in that case, what will happen? They will schedule it as a job itself. The Blazon will be scheduled as a job. like they, which means they will run as batches. Mm, I think you might have seen like for a particular folder, you can select entire set of files and send to Blazon. You have the option, and it will allow you to run in batches, which means run in that particular batch. Blazon. I think we don't have Blazon. Let me see. I have that. I can show that. It's nothing complicated. Same process goes for everything. Only thing is if you're going to schedule it through web report, we can handle that. So just run as a schedule. You select a source for that, and then what you do, you run the batches accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just show you. So when we say web reports, right, the source of a web report can be anything. So you can run anything or
Yes.
do, yeah, automate anything to using a web reports. In that case, your source can be a live report or a lot of things you can do. You can even like invoke a workflow also. So when you have a workflow created, you can use that web report to run a workflow itself into it. After that, many things in that way we can do. Like we can't limit the what to say features or functionalities of a web report. When you think when you think something, right, like I can tell you like these all things web report can do, but I can miss out few things, but based on the requirement that you get, right, so you can think which will be of a better solution or approach, whether a web report or just using a workflow alone, you can implement that. So in that way, you can think a few things and you can
Okay.
start implementing them. But if you know what it does and what all features are there, how you can implement them, it's then easier for you. That's that more than enough in that case. Lesson publish. Yes, we have lesson publish. Let me, let's just select it. Hmm. Okay. So you must have seen how Blazon works, right? Or mm,
No, I didn't see.
no. Oh, okay, okay, fine, fine. So in that case, okay, I'll show you. So this is how for a single file or let's say three files I'm doing, right? So you see this feature. So sometimes what happens, so 16.2 and all, you will see here itself. Okay, but it's again a column only. Here you can add that also to add that option to place on publishers place on. But here, yeah, you see that when you can select multiple items, select place on publish. So publishing order, in which order it should run these files. You can select them, and three types of formats it allows basically. Like as a basic module, it allows first as a the PDF conversion is the first format, then the CSV format, and the TIFF format. So TIFF format is nothing but an image format only. So image PNG and all we have, right? In the same way, TIFF is also one of the image format, which is also a document image. Like other image formats are direct image formats, but this is a kind of a document. It's a image only, but it's a kind of a document. So TIFF also is one of the allowed formats that it allows to convert, and CSF is one of the other format. I'm also not exactly sure what CSF is, maybe based on the uh, requirements that can be helpful. Mhm. And I have not used CSF format, but it allows the conversions. Let's see what that is. Uh, Okay. So it's kind of a image, compressed image. Okay. Okay, understood. So any file that we have exported from a Photoshop or an editor tool, right? From that, so those kind of conversion files, so which can be imported directly into these kind of Photoshop or Illustrator editor, all those things. Okay, no need to worry about the file formats and all, but the basic thing is Blazon basically converts any file into a PDF and a TIFF, and other allowed formats are CSF. And if you want to customize that, how it has to look like, right? So you can choose in these options. Okay, because you are converting a document on your own, right? So any document into a PDF format or a TIFF format. So you can add a watermark to it. Watermark copyright you are going to do to that PDF. So it will have whatever watermark you are going to put into that document, and where you have to add that watermark also it allows you to do. So you don't want to disturb the contents of the documents, right? So you can select the watermark positions, and based on that, what color the watermark font, everything should look like. You can select and put that watermark. Apart from that, rest all are normal PDF conversions, only setting the passwords, then width and height and all those things only. Okay. So these kind of conversions, but basically, two major things every most of the organizations that they will use will be watermark options, and other thing will be a password protection. So these are some of the features that most of the organizations will use. Why? Because how Adobe is also one of the costliest product. So
Yes.
instead of so in that case, instead of purchasing Adobe for online conversions, right? So that okay, I forgot to say one thing here. So if any organization, when they want to purchase content server, right? So they want to give in detail everything to open text, like which means all the end-to-end requirements. So based on that, they will customize the pricing and the require like what all modules they can incorporate. They will let you know, because so in that case, if they don't know that about Blazon, what all it can do, right? So they might end up in end up purchasing a licensed Adobe also. So that is again an expensive one. So whereas if they are going to purchase into OpenText itself, already since they are purchasing content server, right? They might get it at a low cost only. So you might think like why we are discussing about this pricing, or why about this customizing and all, right? So as a starter, you might be a developer. Okay. So after you complete 5 to 7 years or 7 years and above, right, you will come into a position of an architect. Okay. When you are an architect, right? Your role will be in an organization. Every organization, like let's say a service-based company, instead of giving everything to OpenText, means when they are going to purchase OpenText, instead of using end-to-end support of OpenText, what they will do, they will use the help of they will get the help of an architect only to customize all those things. So an architect can design what all they want, what all they don't want. So based on that, they can provide the intimate open text that these all the requirements we have, and we want only these products, and we want the pricing for that only. So based on that, you will be able to get an estimate from OpenText, because sometimes OpenText might try to make you buy some additional products also. Mhm. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so that's why you about this pricing, or what all features every module offers also, it's better to be aware of. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so but you don't need not worry about that when we discuss about the servers. I have a separate thing included in our session also, mm, which is that. Architecture and resource planning, right? When we discuss about the architecture and resource planning, I will explain you about how the discussion starts between any organization and OpenText, and how the resource planning or the architecture building starts. You will be getting to know in that phase. Why? Because it's better to know this from scratch so that you can build your own architecture for an organization. So end to end, right from how many servers required and how many GBs of like resource required, RAM and ROM and everything you can plan for your own organization. So in that way, you will be able to design your own content server and requirements. So all these will be covered. It's not at all complicated. Okay, so it's just a matter of how you design your content server. Okay, that's
Okay.
it. Okay. So Blazon, right? Yes. So in that case, most of the organization prefer the Blazon module when they know about the feature. So one thing is adding a watermark and password protection to a file, because in some cases the document that they are going to convert can be a very sensitive document, any government related document. So in that case, they might add a watermark and put the password also for protection. So that's the reason this feature might be more helpful to them. Okay. So apart from that, this is nothing but where is the file location that you want to convert, and also if you want to rename the files after conversion, so that also you can do. And after conversion, if you want to zip the files, you can zip them. And where the file has to be. So it has to be in the same folder, or if it is a different folder where you want to convert and store, so that also you can do here. Okay. And if you want the rename the file extension also, you will be able to do. So these are some of the features that Blazon will be helping you to do. So let's say I'm selecting in this admin home, right? Mm, Save as a new version. So for it's already in the BizAdmin. If the file is already existing in the destination location, and if you want to add them as a new version, so that will also happen. Okay. So let's see. I'm sending to Blazon, and how it works. You'll be able to see. So in this order or sequence, it will be converting. Okay, so in this way, you will be able to see it actually runs as a job only. So it goes to a staged folder. After that, finally, it publishes the documents. Submitted now. Finally, once it is successful, it will be completed. So one thing now we are discussing how this works from the UI perspective. I'm showing how we are converting the Blazon, converting the documents using the Blazon module. When we are individually seeing the Blazon module, right, I will show you how to install them also, and I'll share you the documentation also for that. Why? Because when you are working in a service-based organization, you will be seeing the UI part alone. Okay, but okay, in some cases, when you have not taken the complete OpenText support, the entire support you will be doing. In that case, what you have to do, if any job is stuck in your own server and all, you need to go into the server and check what has happened and everything. You should be you should be in a position to check the logs as well. Okay, so in that case, how this flow happens, like when you install Blazon, what in the backend, what is happening, right? You need to know. So that flow also I'll be covering, so that what you will be in a position that when let's say now we sent to Blazon and we saw the result that it is submitted, which means it is successful. Let's say if it is failing, right? If it's failing, you should be able to track or debug it so that you will be able to find the errors and fix them. Right? You should be in a position to do all the things end to end. So if it's failing, instead of raising a ticket to open text every time, you should be in a position to understand what has happened. In that way, you will be able to identify the issue on seeing what has happened only. Okay. So that's the reason when we are covering the what's it? Installation part of Blazon, right? We will cover that as well. Mhm. It was here it is completed. I think it was taking some time. Mm. Yeah, so three stages, like three phase will be there. So one is the input. Like when we see the installation part, you will be seeing it completely. Like when you send a file, it goes to a input folder, and after that we have a staged folder. So it goes to the staged folder, and from there only the actual job will be processing the files. Okay. So one, if the file is failing, right, we have one more folder called error folder. In that way only we will be tracking inside the server. Like let's say you have installed this in one of the servers. In that particular server, these all folders will be there where you have installed. So one will be input, and another one will be staged folder, and you have the output folder and the error folder. So in that error folder, you will see the files that have failed, and in the output folder, you will be seeing the files that have completed the rendition, which means that has completed the PDF conversion. Okay. So that is the thing. And that folder, right, that input folder where the files are coming, they call that as a heartbeat folder. So because where that is where all the operations are happening. So just I'm covering that as a less as a touch base, but we'll be seeing all the content server installation, OTDS installation, Blazon, Brava, archive server installation. All those installation will be covered also. While seeing that, I'll be showing those folder structures as well. So, yeah, any doubts as of now, Deepak? Anything you want
No,
to?
no, Vicky, it's going good.
Oh, okay. So now, like when I'm covering the UI part and slightly when I'm giving a hint about the server where it is installed or how the folders are looking. So just that to give a hint or to make you aware of that, I want to cover that. Why? Because when I'm covering the installation, it will be much more clear that like you would be able to relate that. Okay, I told that this will be there, that will be there. So like to cover that as a touch base only. So at that point of time when we are seeing the installation part, right, you will be able to relate what all things we discussed at the starting stage. So that's the reason. And when I'm saying installation and all, it's not complicated. It's a straightforward installation. Like you just choose what you want, where you are going to install, and rest all it is directly handled by OpenText. So the steps are directly handled, and those folders get created automatically. And just I'm saying that these folders are there so that even when you are giving an interview, right? So yeah, it's not required that you need a hands-on as you know that for a open text interview There is nothing going. Everything is going to be verbal only, right? So
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, there is no, like, let's say if you are attending a Java interview, right? So you will be having a 1 hour coding session, right? But whereas
Yes.
any of the open text interviews, there is nothing going to be like that. So they will be testing your skill set verbally only. Okay, they
Okay.
because they can't show, yeah, they can't show their environment to do or to implement all those things and all. So they will be checking you or and asking you cross questions, whether you are aware of the product or not. So that's why I was telling that input folder is called as a heartbeat folder and all, because these all cross questions will be coming. So where
What is that?
the
Let
file
me
will
note.
be going.
What is the input
Yeah,
folder?
yeah, sure. You can. Yeah, it's called as a heartbeat folder.
Heart?
Okay, so the heartbeat,
Heartbeat.
heartbeat.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Heartbeat
yeah,
folder.
yeah. They call that as a heartbeat folder. So let's say if you're attending an open text interview itself, right? Like giving a open text interview, that time what will happen? All these things that we are seeing on the UI, right? No questions will be coming from that part. Like basic questions will be coming. Mostly they will be covering asking questions about databases, database tables. After that, they will be asking you about the search architecture, how the search is working and all those things, and
Yeah,
how you
search filter.
whether, yeah, search architecture also. I will be covering the search architecture also into end. So I have that flow completely, and I'll share the search architecture documentation also. So you
Okay.
can go through that also. But no worries, we'll on the session itself I'll cover that so in a simplified way so that it becomes more easier. So in open text, how they want in the backend part only they will be expecting. If you are giving a direct open text interview, so it will be a backend kind of like how you will be able to check the logs when you see this error, that error, where you will be able to track in the logs, or what are present in these tables, and all those kind of questions will be there in the open text interview. Or in any of the product companies or the service companies, the interviews they will be asking will be mostly about the UI part. So in UI, whatever you are seeing, right, whether you know to create a workflow, how you create a live report, how you create categories and map them. So in this way only your questions will be. And by the end, when we complete our session, right, like all the entire session, when we are going to wind up, I'll give you a set of interview questions also. Okay. So
Okay.
that will be very much helpful for you. So from that questions, if you have any doubts also, you can let me know. I'll help you out with those questions. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
out of, yeah, yeah, no need. It's fine. Yeah, because out of those questions, only mostly you will be getting anything. And if you know that itself, you have covered most of the content server part. So that will be
Uh,
helpful for you. Okay.
okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So now I think here in our environment, place on publish is not working, I guess. Why? Because we converted and sent it to Blazon Publish, but it's still not available here in the module, which means it's still running. It shouldn't take that much time because I never used in our environment. Like we have never used Blazon. I think the license could have expired, but this is the step for that. Okay, which you saw, right? When you send to publish, all every 5 seconds in the after publish, it will be refreshing. And once it is successful, you when you come to the destination location, it should be present there. Usually, it won't take this much time. It's a matter of some time only. It won't take this much time. Okay. Mhm. And when we are seeing the installation, I'll cover the backend part in the inside the server, how it looks. So now, any
Okay.
doubts with respect to the basic like Blazon functionality from the UI part? Uh,
No.
Deepak? No, right? So that's
No.
how you handle. Okay, okay, Deepak. So that's how you say, convert a single PDF or sorry, single file or about 10 files, 20 files to using Blazon. You convert it into PDFs. But if you are going to
And
convert bulk files, yeah, yeah,
is there
Deepak.
any limit to convert files
No,
from
no, not
files to the PDF?
no, no, nothing like that. There is no such limit for that PDF conversions. Only thing is how your architecture or server is going to handle that load. As I
Okay.
was saying, right? Let's say
Yes.
you know about front-end servers, admin servers, and all, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let's say you are having like you have installed Blazon in your front-end server itself. So in that case, you are using an existing server itself. So if you are using an existing server, the RAM that is present in that server is going to be used for the front-end operations and also for Blazon operations also. So in that case, it can't handle heavy load. Okay. So if you are
Okay.
based on the load that you are going to handle, based on your organization requirements, right? So you need to choose how you want. So let's say if you're going to convert millions of files to PDFs using Blazon Publish, in that case you need to install it in a separate server. Okay. So
Okay.
that depends on your own requirements. Even the number of front-end servers that you are going to have also is completely dependent on your organizational requirements and the load. Mm, yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
there is no restriction to Blazon module. It can convert any number of files, n number of files. Only thing is, if you have given if you have given the Blazon module like enough number of resources, it can handle anything. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why optimization is very important with respect to OpenText actually. So to cut down cost, organization will use limited resources or limited modules or those things. So, but if you give optimal amount of resources to content server, right, it can handle the load very efficiently. Okay. Why?
Okay.
Because I have seen IBM using Content Server 9 version currently. Okay, one of the project in IBM, they are
Okay.
using Content Server 9 only, oldest version, and they are having 49 front-end servers to it. Okay, so they have
Oh.
not moved to, yeah, they are having 49 front-end servers and almost 30 to 40 admin servers. So they are fine with that version itself. They are saying that this version itself is running fine for them. They don't want the latest version, like they don't want the latest features. So no one is, I think, no one is using the UI part of content server there. So some backend conversions or all those operations are only happening for them. So they told it's fine for them. This version itself is handling it efficiently. So it's fine for them. Yeah.
Okay.
So then and there, I'll be giving such scenarios for you when we are
Okay.
covering the architectures. So it can be helpful anytime when you are giving interview. So
Yes. Yes.
because you might be getting scenario based questions also. So at that time, this can be helpful for you. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Deepak. So let's move on to next one, integrations, reports, and workflows. Okay, so integrations when
Vicky, your screen is stuck.
oh, okay. Now, is it visible?
Yeah. Now it's
No. Okay, now I'm in integrations page, right?
yes.
Okay, so when I'm saying integrations, right, we can integrate content server with any of the product or any of the web-based application. Okay, requirement based on this, that's also completely dependent on the requirement only. Like content server, like OpenText offers direct integrations to only two of the products. I'll tell you. One is SAP, and another one is called Success Factor. Okay, I don't know if you have heard about Success Factor. Um,
Yeah, I had,
um,
but not much.
heard about, right?
I had the name.
You worked on
Yeah,
it.
about.
That's, yeah, you have heard the name. That is fine. So, like your organization also might be using a HR portal or HR tool where your personal information or any of the organization, any of the employees' personal information is stored there, right? So in that
Yes.
way, every organization would be using some HR tool to maintain the employee records or employee information. So in that way, what is that? Success Factor is one of the HR tool that is offered by SAP directly. Okay, so SAP offers Success Factor as a HR tool, and their regular SAP product. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're aware of what is an SAP tool. Like SAP is a ERP tool actually. ERP tool means Enterprise Resource Planning. Are you aware of what is that? Like what is an SAP? No need to be aware, but just asking you so that I can explain you that.
No,
Mhm.
no, no, Vic.
No, okay, no issues. I can give a overview what it is so that you will be able to relate. Like let's say let's say if you are going to a manufacturing company, or no, let's say you're going to a clothing store, right? Or you're going to a hypermarket or a shopping market, right? You will be able to see the billing that is happening there, right? So all those
Yes.
billing, yeah, for every person, for the billing that is happening, it has to be stored. Let's say you are purchasing some 10 items there, and for each of the item, the product value, product name, and the quantity, and everything has to be predefined there already in the system, right? So based on that only, when they scan the code there, it automatically identifies the product and comes to the billing for you, right? So in the same way, once the billing is done, finally the product details, the purchase information, the invoice is also stored there. So to maintain all of these, they require some tool to handle that. In that way, there are a lot of tools in the market. There is a tool called QAD. There are a lot of ERP tools in the market. When you search ERP tools, you will get a list of ERP tools to handle that. But if your load is too much, like let's say if the organization, or if the clothing store is functioning worldwide, or if the what to say, if that shopping store is like functioning worldwide, right? They need structured, or they need a product that handles it more efficiently. So in that way, SAP is one of the biggest ERP tool that handles it with ease. It can handle any number of such load to operate worldwide, and at the same time maintain the records at the say at global level. So in that way, now you would have got an idea. Like when you are at a billing counter, when they scan, they get that product information and everything, right? So in that
Yes.
way, an ERP tool will be able to maintain all those things. But one thing is SAP is having a disadvantage there. They don't have a proper UI to it. So I don't know if you have seen the Tally tool, or if you go to a ATM machine, whatever UI you are seeing there, right? So that UI, those are oldest programming. Like they are built using COBOL actually. So they are the oldest programming languages, right? So for security, safety, and security reasons, they still maintain that language only, so that no one can hack through online processes. Okay, so that's the reason. SAP UI also is similar to that only, whatever you see on a ATM machine. So it's similar to that only. So they're not in a position to maintain the documents in a proper structured way. So in that way only, content server has introduced in the latest version extended ECM. So that's why earlier the versions were called ECM. So now they call it as xECM, extended ECM. Why? Because they have extended their support to SAP. So they integrate with SAP now and make it more convenient for SAP users to see the data in a more lively way in their UI. Okay, so that's why OpenText is a gold partner for SAP because they are enabling their storage and whoever using SAP, whichever customer is using SAP, right? They are mostly preferring content server. Why? Because the end documents are directly stored. Because once the billing is done, the invoice details all will be stored into content server. So in that way, the handling is happening. Okay. When we are seeing the how we establish the xECM to SAP connections, right? I will be explaining these steps in detail, where how the documents are coming into content server and how we are maintaining and organizing them at a global level. I will be explaining you. But now, as an idea, why we are integrating with SAP, I want to say, because OpenText offers this direct connection to SAP only. No other tool
Okay.
has a direct connection. Yeah, let it load. I'll show
There
you.
it will
Only to
be present links.
Yes, so to SAP and SuccessFactors alone, it offers direct connection actually.
Okay.
Uh, so here, this just as an overview I'm giving, but when we are integrating with that, we have a SAP session also, like integration session. That time I will show you in detail, but just an overview now. Connections to business applications, right? So here, when you need to select to which application you are going to connect. Let's say we are having an SGP, which is an SAP. So connection type, what it is asking. So if you see, is for HANA, which is SAP for HANA SPI adapter. So it gives a direct adapter for SAP. Let's say
Okay.
if you are connecting with a, yeah, it offers a direct adapter so that directly it integrates with that application. Same goes for what is that? Success factor also. Success factor also is one of the HR tools, and when you integrate that with the content server, it directly imports the data into content server. So I'm not sure if you are aware of business workspaces. Um, are you aware of business workspaces? Any idea?
No, like how you
Okay.
are asking.
No issues. It's like you were asking about record management or those sessions, right? So
Hmm.
when we talk about retention policies are mostly used for business workspaces. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's nothing but when we are integrating an HR tool, right? Like what information is stored is nothing but every employee information. So every employee's folder structure will be maintained here. So
Okay.
discuss that, but no issues. Just giving a hint only, or understand why we need to connect to a HR tool. Not only SuccessFactor, we can connect with any of the HR tools. Only thing is you need to build an API in between, or you need to use the web services to establish the connection. Okay, so after that, you can import the data in whatever way we want. So business workspaces are nothing but you can create a default template with folder structures. And after that, what you can do, whenever any employee information is imported or integrated, right, through the HR tool, to, to that template folders that are already present, the data will be loaded from the HR tool to the employee workspaces directly. In that way, employee information is stored into content server directly so that all the HRs can access their information from here itself. So whatever name you are currently seeing here is right, it's a individual employee workspace. So employee
Okay.
ID is at the start and the employee name. And since we have created a template, by default, every employee will have these set of folders. You're seeing hiring and onboarding, employment, payroll, benefits. So in that way,
Yeah.
till their retirement, all the folders will be created. Since we have a template, and through jobs every day, let's say you're getting hired, and your data is loaded into that HR portal, right? And if that HR portal is linked to our content server, daily jobs will be running. So your data will be directly loaded into content server through our job. And what happens is your onboarding documents, your payroll information, your what to say, offer letter, and right from everything will be stored here. And HRs will have this UI to maintain all this information. You can say like HR tool is already there. Why do we need content server? They can get the information there, right? But if you want to see another employee information, you have to search through the employee ID and get the data individually only. But whereas if it is into content server, it's everything into database, and you can put your use your live reports or web reports to get any customized reports. So at a global level, so any service-based organization like TCS, Wipro, HCL, Accenture will have millions of employees working there, right? Lakhs of employees working there. So when you have to handle all those information, or when you have to get a report of those many employees, content server offers it easily, right? So you can write a report to pull any number of information and any kind of data. So it's like only you have to know the table info and what data you want to fetch. If you're aware, you can pull your own report. So that's one of the reasons. So now, any doubts as of now? You leave about business workspaces and all. Don't get confused. That we'll be seeing for sure. Only thing is why HR tool is required. So for this purpose
Yes.
only, HR integration is also required. So that for that purpose only, when we are discussing about SAP integration and HR tool integration, right? Like success factor integration, you will get to know the importance of HR tool integration. Why? Because mm, they maintain millions of records there. Like every employee record, let's say 3 lakh employees are working. 3 lakh employee records will be huge, right? From your onboarding documents to monthly payroll document to um, your exit documents. Every employee information will be huge. So in that case, maintaining that will be a huge task. So in that case, HR tool integration is also very important. So that's the reason they have given direct integrations for SAP and success factors. And that's the reason OpenText is a gold partner with SAP, because SAP is a very huge market product in the market, right? So in that case, if you have to be a partner with SAP, you have to provide a support to them like on a high level, on a very high level, because SAP product should never go down, which means their product should be functional 24 bar 7. And in the same case, if we are supporting SAP, like extended support, if we are giving, we need to also make sure that the product never goes down. So that's the reason. Okay, so that's how gold partnership works. Why? Because if you say
Okay.
Amazon, right? So let's say like you are using Amazon Cloud or Azure Cloud, right? So if their cloud goes down for just 1 or 2 minutes, right, the loss that they will be facing will be very huge, right? So that's why AWS and Azure, what to say, their support or their functionality is always on point. It never goes down. If it goes down, the loss that they will be facing will be very huge, because lots of customers, huge customers, are on AWS cloud and Azure cloud, right? So even
Yes.
right from huge streaming platforms like Geo Cinema, Hotstar are all on AWS. So So there, if they go down for even five minutes or 2 minutes, it will be a huge end user loss for them. Okay, so that's the reason they are all like premium organizations, SAP, Amazon, Microsoft. So if any organization is going to extend the support for them, they should make sure they maintain that kind of customer support. So that's the reason when we are integrating with any of the SAP applications, right? OpenText will make sure that the support never goes down. That's the reason SAP has given the gold partnership with OpenText. Okay, so that's why they have built direct connectors for SAP alone. Okay, so that's the reason I want to explain actually. So the background behind that also, it's always better to be aware of. Okay. In that way, integration, when we come to integrations, there are based on the organization, your requirement to integrate with the application is completely independent. So that's why OpenText is a kind of it's a kind of lightweight application only. The application is huge only, but it's still lightweight. Why? Because it can integrate with any of the application. Only thing is you need a middleware code that you need to build or you need to develop. So only to you like connect with the web services or the APIs. Are you aware of the web services, Deepak?
Oh, no.
No, right? Okay, I'll explain you that as well when we are discussing about
Okay.
integration. So the first two or three, say, like you might get a question that most of the things I'm telling will cover later. Why? Because these are all an overview only. First, you need to.
Mm,
I'm giving an overview. This is all there. This is all we can do. This is what we have to do, or this is the background behind that. And once we are done with that, right, when we come to this type architecture and resource planning, we will be
okay.
discussing it individually one by one. Yeah. So that
Oh,
time you will be able to relate everything, and we'll be like till one more session, we'll be having this overview, and after that, remaining fully, you will be able to have individual sessions for every individual modules. Mm, and we will complete that like for all the modules. Okay.
okay.
And any questions, don't hesitate. You can ask when you go through the recordings also from your previous sessions. You can come back to me. So we can work on it, and I'll let you know. I'll
Okay.
clarify all your questions. Okay. So in
Okay.
that way, we can discuss. So why we are talking about integrations, right? So yeah, so in your organization also, the requirement based on the requirement, you are using the content server accordingly. So in the same way, based on the type of organization or the type of requirement, the usage varies. Okay, so sometimes directly the users use the content server using the login and all, right? So in that case, they see the UI interface directly and they handle that. But in some cases where I was saying IBM, right? So in that case, they are not using the content server directly. The end users are not using the content server directly. Instead, they are using some other application. That application is integrated with content server. In that case, content server is in the um, background. So which means it is at the back end, and whatever, let's say, like I'll give a small example for that. You might be having a form or something where you have an option called upload. So for in that upload, right, the what to say, in that upload icon in the behind, the web service call will be for the upload functionality into a respective folder. Okay, so to give
Okay.
more clarity, let's say mm, you are going to submit a form for something, and those related files are present into some folder of content server. Okay, it can be any form or anything. Okay, it can be any kind of form. Your and those related documents are present into a folder. Right. So let's say employee workspaces I was telling, right? In that case, let's say your organization is asking you to fill some information and upload your documents also into there, into that portal. You fill your basic information into that, and when you're trying to upload that from there, right? Instead of going to your local machine, it goes to your employee information here. It picks the files from there, so related files from there. So in that way we can configure the middleware code to pick the files from that folder. Okay, so in that way dynamically based on your employee id, that script will run to that middleware code will run to fetch the file, and you will be able to see the files to upload, and you upload the file. So in that way, content server is in the background, and in the UI, whatever application you're seeing is entirely different. This is one such example. There can be any kind of application like that. Okay, so let's say let's take the example of Amazon itself, right? You are going through various products present there. You're searching the product, right? So in that way, or any kind of application where you're searching something and it is fetching you the files, right? So that search functionality and the file that it's fetching, right, will be from the content server. So it's just in the background, but in the middle, the code is handling that. Okay,
Okay.
any doubts in that? Um, mm,
Mm, no, 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 VK.
okay, so you need not worry about that middleware code and all. Why? Because only thing you need to know is you need to know the web services. What are all web services are there? Why? Because content server operates in a web through web service calls only completely. Okay,
Okay.
why? Because so if you see object action equal to browse, right? So in that way, when you click on something also, if you see at the bottom of my screen, object action equal to run report,
No, actually, you are
right?
performing any task. Your screen is stuck.
Okay. No, I'm not performing anything.
Okay.
I'm on the content server page only. You are able to see that. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in
yeah.
home?
No, okay. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah. On the top, if you see object action equal to browse, right?
Okay.
Yeah. If I'm hovering here, at the bottom, if you see a pop-up came up in the gray
Yeah.
area. You're able
Yes.
to, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. In that part, if you see object action equal to run report, right? So in
Yes.
that way, in that way, content server has predefined operations for each of the operation, right? They have created this action. So this is a live report. If I click that, that will run report. So in that way, there are multiple predefined actions. So for each of the action, web service calls will happen. Which means for a download, there is a download web service. That's kind of a two or three lines of code OpenText has built. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, let's say in a Java language, I'll just tell you. I don't know if you are able to relate. Just I'm saying, maybe you'll be able to relate. You like we write a lot of functions, right? And somewhere you will be calling that function, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's say you write a small function to perform anything, like to perform a download or upload something you write, right? And after that,
Yes.
somewhere in the code, you call that function. Let's say that function name is download, and later in the any part of the code, you call that download function so that that function works. So in that way,
Yeah.
OpenText, right? What they have done, they have completely written the product in that way. Everything is a web service only, right? From
Okay.
every download operation, upload operation, each of these individual operation is a small, small two or three line of code only. So,
Okay.
and yeah, that's why the application is lightweight. There is no dependency for any of the operations. If I click download or if I run any report, there is no dependency in the background. Okay, so that's the
Okay.
reason it's able to fetch you the results in a quicker way. Okay, so that's the reason. Every action is a 2 or 3 line of code only. So that's why, let's say, as I was giving, now I was giving you an example, right? That a form where you are uploading, it opens that folder, Now, that middleware code you are going to write, I was saying, right? That middleware code is
Yes.
nothing but you are going to call that web service. That's it. That code is going to be going to call that web service, and you will be writing a query only in between. So if you call that download, that it should it that code should be able to identify, right, who is running this. So you are running that for this employee, go and pick this file from that particular workspace, right? So that has to be done. So that only you write in that middleware code. That's it. Apart from that, nothing will be happening. And in the same way, in the background of content server operations, only SQL queries are running. Okay, mostly SQL queries are only running for any of the search operations, basically,
Okay.
or most of the operations. Why? Because what happens is, like now I have logged in through BizAdmin, right? Let me click on something, right? If I am clicking on this, a web report is running. A web report is running in the background. Object action is
Yes.
browse. It is calling that browse functionality function. That's it.
Yes.
To simplify it more, right? What content server basically does is, when I click this folder, it is going to display you this, right? From this folder. So if you speak in a query language, what you will do for displaying this folder? Select star from this
Select.
folder name.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is what will happen in the background. So if you clearly think, when you write a web report, it gives you something, right? It gives you some results. But
Yes.
when you see that result, it gives you two options. One is content server view, and another one is any kind of destination, either email or this that. Okay, so if you clearly see that the operation is something similar to, so that is happening in the content server only. Like it fetches you this in the background also. That is only happening. Like every action is a web service call and a web report call. So they have written in that way. Only these three things are happening, nothing else is happening. Either it is calling a web report
Okay.
or a live report or a function. It is calling a function. So in that way only they have built this content server operations. Mm, like that's the reason why the efficiency is more. There is no dependency at all. So that's the reason anytime the admin server should be not too much overloaded, so that all the operations will be more efficient. So this is just a overview or hint. This gives, I hope this gave some clarity how content server is working, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Deepak. So that's how, when you are going to integrate with any of the applications, right? Instead of integrating all the content server modules completely, let's say in that form I was saying, it is going to fetch file from this folder only, right? You are going to write 2 or 3 lines of code. You give the node ID of that particular folder, fetch me the files of this folder. It will fetch you the files, and after that you have to download something, right? So download whatever, based on your operations, you are going to upload something. You will be seeing this. If based on this click, it will fetch that file from there. So that's it. So you are going, once you give this node ID, you are going to get the files from that folder alone, and after that the query is only going to happen. Like if you select this file to be uploaded, in the background it will fetch this file, and it will give to you in that application. That's it. This is what is going to happen in the background, and this is how it will be integrated with any of the applications.
Okay.
So, yeah, API, they tell web service or API integrations, right? In the API integrations, this is what will be happening. Yeah. Oh, let's say if there are if you have a browser-based application and a web-based application, if you are going to integrate that application with another application, right? So if you are what you will be doing, you will be writing some services. Like services are nothing but a small part of code that you will deploy. After deploying, that code will automatically handle these operations. So that's why what is a web service. Okay, so, or an API. API will is nothing but a plugin. It allows you to
Yes.
establish connection between two applications, right? The same way,
Yes.
content server OpenText has written everything predefined. Now your work is going to be just call that API or web service. Your code is going to
Okay.
do that only. Just call that web service. Your functionality will work. That's it. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you a few examples when we are discussing web services and all. I know web services. I forgot that application name. What is that? SOAP UI, and there are two more applications similar to SOAP UI. I forgot that name. Calls. SOAP UI. Postman. I'm sure. Like you might have heard about Postman application, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So using Postman, right, you can test your web service calls if it is working or not. If you are integrating with content server. Yeah,
Okay.
let's say I have integrated your application with content server through web service calls, and one day you are coming and saying that upload or download or something or search is not working. How we debug that? You go to content server and see if search functionality is working or not. If search is working, that then what you will do is search only. You told it's not working, right? So search, there will be a web service for search. So you would have searched any specific file, right? So I'll take that node ID of the file. I'll manually first check if it's working or not. If it's working, then what I'll do, I'll go to Postman. I'll put that web service call in that URL. Web service call is nothing but this kind of URL where I'll put this node ID. So this is kind of this will be something. It will be something like this. That web service. So browse action will be something download or search view like this. It will be like that, and I'll put my node ID. That's it. There is nothing more to be there because every organization has their own requirement, and you in your organization you can tell I have worked on this and I know this. So when you come there, based on their requirement, you can learn that and slowly you can do. Only that much will be there. It's not complicated at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. So with that, the integration part also is getting completed. So we are going to integrate various applications in that way only. When we are going to see web services calls and all, we'll be seeing how the integrations are happening. And in the same way, live reports and web reports are also there. We know live reports is for any individual standalone statistical report, and web report. Using web report, we can combine n number of live reports, or we can perform like invoke any workflow also, or we can combine multiple web reports also or call a web report also into a web report. So all these things we can do, or we can schedule a job, or we can do anything, any such thing using a web report. So web report is kind of all-in-one feature that allows you to perform various operations. So when we are seeing that live report and live report, web report in a single session, we can cover. it won't be more time taking. So
Okay.
in the further sessions, it will be like one or two modules will be covering in that particular session, and in the next 2 3 days you can go through the recording and you can come back in that way. Okay.
Okay.
So workflow also it will be in a single session. All the functionalities I'll tell you and show you a live. We'll like a handy session. We will do how we create, how we connect them, and all we will do. And after that, you can let me know in case of any doubts. So in that way, we can do that workflow session also. So these are some of the features, Deepak, that content server is having. These are the basic features. Apart from that, how we are going to use the features, we'll all discuss in the further sessions. So any doubts,
Okay.
Deepak, as of now?
As of now, it
Mhm.
is going good. If I
Mhm.
again revise these recordings,
Yeah.
then I will
Yeah.
note down
You
the questions and I will queries and I
questions.
will ask
Yeah.
if any
Correct. Correct.
queries arise
Yeah.
in my
You
mind.
any Yeah, yeah. Any question can pop up anytime because we are seeing it only and discussing at the start.
Yes.
So slowly, when we are getting into the contents of our modules one by one, so everything
Yes.
will get clarified one by one. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Uh, Vicky, are you
mhm.
going to take sessions every day on or only in on weekends?
No, no, every day, Deepak.
Okay.
No, no worries. So every day is fine for you, right?
Every day
Mhm.
is fine, but I need to revise the sessions. That's what I face the problem.
Oh, okay.